more on the web application development, focusing on JPA transaction security, OSGI mobile apps, and so on. So it is a time to value for developers. It greatly accelerates their development time. Moving on to slide 17, this slide explains how the simplified configuration has been achieved in Liberty Profile. Like I said, server.xml is the only file there is to the entire configuration. It has a feature manager in which there you can see a feature enabled in there. And when that feature is enabled, there is no need for restart of the server. That feature gets dynamically enabled, and this is what we call dynamic runtime provisioning when we talked about Liberty. So there is no multiple XMLs to deal with. And the best part of this is that this is shareable and versionable. Earlier, the XML files would be very server specific or node specific because they would have information which is specific to that particular node or that particular server in them. For example, names of nodes, port numbers, and so on. Now, because such information or such configuration has been extracted out of server.xml, it becomes portable, it becomes shareable, it becomes exportable. It becomes something which you can just take, plug in and plug out from one server and put in another with absolutely no additional edits or configurations. Because it is now node neutral, it is now server neutral. All there is to it is your development related information, configuration information. Moving on to slide 18. This again shows a snapshot of the simplified configuration in server.xml. As you can see, there are two features enabled here, JSP and JDBC. There are some configurations which are singleton, as in which are configured once and would not change or would get overwritten if changed. So there is logging, for example, which is a singleton configuration. And there are instance configurations which are of the nature that are instance-based. For example, you have an application trade light, and then you can have several other applications. You have a data source, you can have several other data sources. So these are instance specifications which also you can make in server.xml. And in addition, as you will see in slide 19, there are shareable config snippets. So you can also include other XML files which have other configuration information in the main server.xml. So the advantage to this feature is, say there were two developers that are working on a big project. It could be more, but just this is an example. So now developer 1 has a certain amount of configuration done, developer 2 has certain other amount of configuration done. Now both of these can be clubbed because both of them do not have any node specific information. They're both working on Liberty, so there's no node specific information. Now when they are trying to club their work together and try to see the holistic testing, try to see the holistic picture, they can just include individually their XMLs in server.xml in this specific tags, like the way it's mentioned in this picture here, in the snippet here. So the integration is so seamless. There is no need for additional any changes to the or any edits to the individual server.xml. All you have to do is make sure that the locations are specified correctly. And the WAS developer tools in Eclipse show the entire snapshot in an exploded way, in a holistic and composable way. So what are the configuration parameters that the first file has, what the second file has? They show it in proper comprehensive way. So moving on. Moving on to the next slide, which is slide 20. This is a slide which explains what the feature would be called it as dynamic runtime. So if you see the left side, full profile WAS. Now the enterprise version of full profile WAS has all the services which Java EE supports, including the core runtime and any other WAS extensions, all in one bundle. Now what Liberty does is it gives you what you exactly want. If your application has only web artifacts, it will ask you to enable only those features. if your application has other features which deal with JPA, it will ask you to enable only those. So it is only, it provisions on demand. It provisions dynamically at runtime, and it doesn't have, there is no need for a server restart with it. So the core, if you see, is only the lavender portion out there, which is down below, and the rest of all is add-on. So the footprint is as much as you want it to be, the runtime footprint, right? So that is the advantage you have in using a lightweight server. So it is just as much as your application wants it to be. Moving on to slide 21. So what does this mean for production? Okay, great. At developer's desk, this looks very logically simple. Yes, but what does it mean for production? Can I seamlessly deploy it on production? What hitches will I have when I move to production? So like we just talked about in the previous slide, right? It is that of the good part is that there are no node-specific